honorable faculty members, scholars, my colleagues. To dispel the first myth, I'm not a professor. So I've done my research from here, MPhil in Seaboard, and then I have went on to serve as Municipal Commissioner, Mahe, Pondicherry. Currently, I'm in Indian Revenue Service. So it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this august gathering. I started my critical thinking process from here. This institution shaped me into what I am today, and I cannot ask for more than to be here, speaking here, sharing my views with all of you. So to begin, I want to make two bold claims about the idea of equity, justice, accessibility. The first claim is that the institutions, systems, and processes are more important and really important than the individual. If I disappear from the map of this planet today, if you disappear, anybody else disappears, the world will go as it is. It is very easy to find your replacement, my replacement, or anybody else's replacement for that matter. But what really matters and what is difficult to find replacement of is the systems, the processes, the institutions, and the procedures that we establish, the norms we create. If we create the inclusive norms today, the inclusive institutions today, the social justice-oriented procedures, they will outlive all of us. So what we contribute, what we produce is more important than our own identity itself. And the second claim the bold claim that I wanted to make is that all of us, you, me, all of us, are disabled. We are all persons with disabilities. We were all disabled when we were born. We will be disabled when we'll be grown old. But I want to go beyond this claim and perhaps reflect upon the idea of disability itself. It, to my mind, means the liabilities or inabilities to accomplish the goals and aspirations or the self-realization. Now in that sense, all of us are disabled that, we are having to breathe the polluted air that we perhaps do not want to. There will be seldom anybody of us who will be willing to inhale the polluted air, but then in that sense, we happen to be disabled. Now, the need of the hour and what we need to actually reflect upon today is to go beyond the policy procedures and to go beyond the policy discourse on disability and perhaps venture into the realm of intersectionalities, freedom and social justice. And when I say that, I mean that there are exclusions. There is a whole spectrum of human exclusions, and that spectrum of human exclusion includes deprivation, humiliation and marginalization, and that is as true for a woman, for a tribal, for a Dalit, as for the persons with disabilities. I imply that all of us face almost equal, almost similar kind of exclusionary processes, the deprivations and humiliations. Now, to talk about it, I will be talking about three constructs. My first construct, the process of exclusion and deprivation, and for all of us, is what I would call as the designed deprivation. We are all experiencing something called designed deprivation. I was undergoing training. We had gone to a district headquarters. The district magistrate has lodged us in a seminar, and बहुत खूबसूरत conference room था. We had a really tiring day. That day went out into the fields, learnt about revenue, the functioning of the village systems और पूरी रूरल इकोनॉमी को समझ के हम बहुत थक गए थे. रात को आके सब लोग कॉफी वगैरह पी रहे थे. एंड हम में से अ फ्रेंड वाज ऑन व्हील चेयर. उस बिल्डिंग में सब कुछ अच्छा था, बस समस्या इतनी थी कि रैंप्स नहीं थे या फिर एक्सेसिबल वॉशरूम नहीं था. एंड दैट फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन हैड टू गो होम. He could not be a part and parcel of our celebrations. Just the absence of a ramp deprived my friend of the deserved entitlement of participating in that post-work gathering, informal gathering of all the officials. So, unfortunately, when we talk about disability or liability associated with any other structure, including patriarchy, casteism, racism, we assign it to the individual. Disability के case में भी mostly we think in terms of medical disability, but in reality disability is social disability. I recollect when I was growing up as a blind child, whenever a guest would appear at home, I would be asked not to come out of the room. I would be locked inside the room. Would ask not to venture out because they did not want the eyes of the guest to befall on me क्योंकि वो उनके लिए बहुत बुरा omen रहता. And this is not just true to me. Just imagine a child who wants to study, who is aspirational, who is having dreams, goals, having a lot of things to accomplish in her mind, but she's sitting outside the classroom in the school because she's a Dalit and she's not allowed. And if at all she's allowed, after a lot of struggle, a lot of advocacy, she's seated on the back benches and is excluded from the elite group of the students. This is also true for a tribal who has been ejected from her cultural, social context because the development demanded it. This is true for a woman who cannot venture out into the capital because the streets are dark and the transportation is unsafe. The process of deprivation is almost the same, and this process of deprivation I refer as special deprivation, depriving you of the public spaces. Now there is a second kind of deprivation which I will say as educational deprivation. When I was growing up, I was denied education. There was a primary school in the village and I would try to sneak out into the school because I wanted to read and write, I wanted to learn to read. But the headmaster would always chase me out. जिनको आना चाहिए वो तो आ नहीं रहे, तुम क्यों आ रहे हो? तुम पढ़ के क्या कर लोगे? कौन थे वो जो नहीं आ रहे थे जिनको आना चाहिए था? वे वो सवर्ण थे, वे केपेबल, सो कॉल्ड quote unquote एबल बॉडीड थे, जिनको आना चाहिए था लेकिन वो नहीं आ रहे थे. So again, the education is the second kind of deprivation, and this is true for the other categories also. This is true for a woman who is married at the age of 15, and this is also true for a girl who is going to a mediocre government school and her brother is going to a very convent public school. Now, what do we do? What is the solution to this deprivation, the educational or special deprivation? The solution is the universal design. Universal design as a philosophy of inclusion. Universal design in our policy advocacy, in our language of policy, in the curriculum, the educational curriculum, the administrative processes, and our social existence. We must now go a step beyond the policy of reasonable